So welcome everybody to today's Legal Boards webinar. The webinar is Technology Tips to Optimize Efficiency and Reduce Stress for Lawyers. So just some housekeeping rules. For audio purposes, all attendees are muted. If you have any questions, use the question pane to type your questions and we'll get back to you directly via email. And if you have any technical difficulties, use the chat module and just some links for social media. So I'll introduce our host, Adriana. She's a legal technology consultant with her company, Law Tech Partners. Using her practical and personal approach, she helps legal professionals use technology to maximize skills and investments through training and consulting. She served as a chair of the ABA Tech Show 2017, and she works as a technology consultant to the Florida Bar Board of Governors and serves as a technology and practice management advisor of the San Diego County Bar Association. So without further ado, I'll hand it over for her.
Thanks so much for the intro, Katie, and thank you to Legal Boards for having me. I'm absolutely happy to spend some time with everyone today, giving you some tech tips to help optimize your efficiency and reduce stress. This is one of my favorite presentations to give because a lot of times attorneys call me and or contact me because they're stressed out because of technology, right? I know technology can cause a lot of stress. And I just want to give you some tips and some suggestions and some obvious reminders about ways that you can reduce your stress by using technology and or create some efficiencies, maybe some things for you to consider. So the first tip I'm going to give you is very obvious, and I hope I am speaking to a group of folks that looks at this slide, rolls their eyes, and said, I have had case management for so long. It is helpful, and I appreciate it. I don't need this tip. I hope that's every single one of you. But just in case there is still someone out there, which there's plenty of attorneys holding out, who have not bought into case management yet, especially if you're a solo, I hope to change your mind. A lot of times when we are solos or smalls, we truly believe we have a handle on every aspect of a matter or a case or a project. And we all know that that's actually not true. We've had those moments, everyone has, where you wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh my God, I just remembered that I forgot to do this. Or did I file that thing? Or whoa, when is the deadline for that item, for that upload, for that filing? So we all have those moments, and today our modern practice management programs are so incredibly affordable, around $50 a month per user for cloud-based subscription services, that I really, really, really encourage you to get a practice management program, especially if you're a solo, because you can spend more time enjoying the practice of law and enjoying your life and your family if you've got a way to manage the things that are listed here. What you want to look for in a case management program is what we refer to in legal tech as matter centricity, meaning everything related to a matter is stored, organized, located, saved, and eventually archived in a bundle, all in one place. So the center of a matter would be inside of a case management program. And from there, not only are you able to manage your documents, but you also synchronize contacts and calendars with Office 365 or G Suite if you're a user. If you are more than one person, perhaps you have an assistant, remote or on-site, or paralegals or co-counsel that you manage. Case management also makes it easier to handle working with people and collaborating with clients, which we'll talk about client collaboration a little bit more in a future slide here. So case management programs not only allow you to manage dates, deadlines, contact information, calendars, it also helps you supervise others. Of course, there's plenty of dashboards and reports that you get, so you don't have to wonder what type of law is your most profitable. You don't have to wonder what type of cases you spend the most time on and make the least amount of money on. You don't have to wonder how productive your assistant is or the types of things that your associates are doing if you can get some good reports and data out of a case management system. It's yet another reason I strongly recommend them. Of course, you can run a case, of course, you can run conflict of interest checks through case management systems, which can often be a stressful point. If you're a solo, even sometimes remembering a name or a business or an entity from years ago can be hard. And if you're able to search through all of your archives, it's an easy and quick way, which you don't have to pay extra for, to run a conflict of interest. Of course, there are many ways that you can capture time, automate capturing of your time. There are passive time capturing programs like Chrometa is one of my favorites that sort of sits in the background like a creepy big brother and watches what you do all day. At the end of the day, it gives you a report. Hey, you spent 6 minutes in this document, 20 minutes on golfchannel.com, 15 minutes formatting and crafting that email. So at the end of the day, it gives you this list of everything you worked on, and you can quickly assign any of those tasks that you worked on or time to a matter. So that's what I mean a little bit by automated time. And then of course, there are ways to make billing easy and fast and help you collect your money a lot faster. All of these programs have credit card capabilities, bank transfers, and of course they will allow you to accept good old-fashioned checks. So if you haven't gotten into case management, please go get some. It will really, really change your life. And if you are already using a case management system, I encourage you to become an absolute master of that system. All of these programs are really easy. In the old days, I used to have to say, well, a case management program is going to cost you about $8,000 to implement because we're going to need a server, you're going to need the licenses, there's going to be annual maintenance. And they were also clunky, you know, way back when, 12, 15 years ago. Today, it's so easy to get started and become really good user, and I encourage everyone to do that. And in case you're wondering, I'm sure people are always asking, well, which ones do you recommend? You know, there are a lot of good products out there. Clio is always, for me, a first and obvious choice, mainly because of their open API. That means they integrate with other products, over 200 of them, I think now, including Legal Boards, which is one of my favorite add-ons for Clio. I know they integrate with Clio. And then outside of Clio, I think my second and third recommendations are always Rocket Matter in my case. If you require built-in accounting, then look at Cosmolex and Zola. And if you're looking for something really sophisticated that will require the help likely of a consultant or a third-party company to help you configure and manage, but you need something much more customizable, then Centerbase and Action Step are two good options for you to look at. So I've given you a handful of practice management programs to look at, and like I said early on, they cost around $50 a month is an average. Some of them are a little more expensive, and of course some others have tiered pricing where you get more or less features. So take a look at any and all of those. Dealing with documents is very, very stressful. Having to find a document, send a document, edit a document. How do you quickly get to your documents while you're on the road? How are things organized and stored? Can be very stressful. So I do encourage everyone, even solos, to have a sophisticated way of managing documents and emails. Let me just also sort of tack on that whenever I'm talking about documents, I'm also talking about emails. I think emails are, of course, the bane of every attorney's existence, but a lot of times we end up using our case management system, or let me start that sentence over. A lot of times we end up using our inbox as our document management system, and that's just a really poor practice, because how do you organize and store and save and search for and retrieve? So I would encourage you to try and keep your inbox as lean as possible. I've got some tips coming up on that in a second, but do encourage you to really, really find a good document management system. So having said that, We just talked about practice management programs, and many of them have integrated document management systems. Great. If that works for you and their systems and their platforms work, then you're in good shape, because we're back to this idea of matter centricity, where everything is organized in one location, including our documents. A lot of us, of course, use OneDrive and Dropbox and Google Drive as ways of organizing and sharing documents. Emails can be hard to get into those locations. Sharing files can be hard if they aren't organized right, and but they'll work. So worst case scenario, if you've got a good way of organizing Dropbox, Google Drive, or OneDrive, or any of those similar products, then great, you're in good shape. You have universal access from any device to your documents. You can collaborate and share on them, and share them with others pretty easily. The search capabilities can sometimes be a little bit limited with services like that, because we are searching through File Explorer or through Google Drive. So if you do require something more sophisticated, I highly, highly recommend NetDocuments all the time. I've been working with and around NetDocuments for over 20 years. They are a very sophisticated document and email management system. They're optimized for Windows. They do okay on a Mac, but if you're a Windows user and you are more than 3 or 4 people, strongly encourage you to take a look at NetDocuments. They have a very sophisticated way of managing documents. They are all cloud-based. It's very, very secure. They have ways of sharing documents, storing emails, converting a Word attachment in an outbound email to a PDF on the fly inside of Outlook. They have a lot of great features. So if you're looking for something more sophisticated than folder systems for document management and email management, I suggest looking at NetDocuments. It's a little more expensive a month. It's about $70 a month for all of the different components that they have. The onboarding will cost you a few $1,000s, but after you've gone through that, you will be very grateful for NetDocuments. If you are a big firm refugee and you were used to using iManage or Docs Hummingbird. Sorry, it was called Docs Open 20 years ago. It's amazing the things that you can't forget. If you were used to using iManage or Hummingbird or World Docs, and you're looking and craving for that profile for saving documents and the ease of organizing and searching and retrieving documents, then NetDocuments is the modern and affordable version of those older and still very good document management systems that you might be familiar with from previous legal experiences. Document automation is something that every attorney strives for, but very few spend the time to achieve. So I encourage you to look into the practice management systems that you're using, and if they have document assembly, to take advantage of it. So, in a perfect world, a client would fill out a form on your website, or you send them a Google form. That information comes back to you, and you are able to export, or using a service like Zapier, get that data into a document. If you're using practice management programs, a lot of them, it's built in, the ability to take a form and then populate the dashboard for a matter with information that either you or the client filled in, and then be able to draft a case caption, a standard letter, just some basic correspondence where it pulls the information from the matter dashboard into the document is critical. Of course, there are great standalone products that we all have known for many years, like HotDocs has been around a million years, and then HotDocs now has modern competitors like Lawya and Documate. And then, of course, there are services that are built into our practice management programs. So if you're really looking to become efficient, reduce errors, reduce your risk, create documents faster, at least to the point where you're drafting something that then you are able to spend substantive time creating the document, definitely look into document automation. Falling right under automation on this slide is document creation. That is, you all have, let me start that sentence over. What I mean by that is, you all have documents that you call your forms or templates, but typically in legal, I hear the word form a lot. And to me, a form is a standard pleading or correspondence that has the canned standard text in it, but then has blanks. And those blanks get filled in automatically or through a question and answer pop-up. For many attorneys, when they say form to me, it's the last time they use that real estate purchase and sale agreement, but it's the standard one they use. So they go and they retrieve it, they pull it up, and then they do a find and replace, or, you know, just go through the document, changing what needs to be changed. Those are not forms. Those are repurposed documents, and they're a lot of work. So if you can take an actual form or template that has placeholders for data, and then put that data in through document automation and end up with a draft of a document, or very oftentimes a complete document, the consistency in those documents, the font and the formatting is going to be the same, and the documents will not only look better, they'll read better, and they're going to be a lot less work to create. I am a Microsoft Word lover, and I always encourage everyone to learn how to use styles. Styles is the type of thing where as soon as I mention styles, the first thing that comes out of a secretary's word or a paralegal's mouth, let me start that over. The first thing that comes out of an attorney's, a paralegal's, or a secretary's mouth oftentimes is, I hate styles. That's very hard for someone like me to hear, because you don't hate styles, you just don't know how they work. And if you understood how they worked, it would change your life, and you would really get an appreciation for quickly being able to automate and format a document. As a matter of fact, I just did a podcast. I host a podcast on the Legal Talk Network called New Solo. And my July guest was an attorney who I have trained to use styles and become an absolute Word expert. So if you're looking for inspiration as to why you should understand how Word works, become a Word expert, and how to sort of get started doing it, go look up that podcast. You can just Google the words podcast New Solo, and it's the July 2021 episode with an attorney named God, hold on. I cannot believe I cannot remember the name of this attorney. She is in my face every day at the San Diego bar. Hold on a second.
No worries at all.
Ugh, I had to look it up. I'm ready. Marie Stockton. Okay. Also, there are ways that you can use text expansion inside not only Word, but also on your computer, which I'll talk about in just a second. But within Word, so, you know, in this theme of dealing with documents within Word, whether it's Mac based or Word Online, there are text expansion tools that are built into it called Auto Text, Autocorrect, and Quick Parts. Please go to YouTube or to Google and put in Microsoft Word, Auto Text, Microsoft Word, Quick Parts. These are tools that are built into Word that allow you to quickly pull up boilerplate text, including things like your signature stamp, an image, your firm logo, things that you use over and over again. You can build a library inside Word. It also then, of course, goes across all of Office using Auto Text and Quick Parts. So definitely look those up. Text expansion tools, I've got a whole slide dedicated to that, because there's a tool I really appreciate, love, and cannot live without, called Text Expander, which we'll talk about in just a couple slides. Of course, when it comes to signing documents, hopefully one of the positive things that have come out of this pandemic for many of us is learning how to get documents signed digitally. And I don't think I need to spend too much time on this, because hopefully by now you've all figured it out. Of course, there are DocuSign and HelloSign, but I want to make a pitch back to a lot of our practice management programs today have the ability to e-sign and digitally sign documents built into them. So that's another thing, either point for case management, or if you haven't looked into it, or if you're not sure if the service that you are using, the program you're paying for, has it, ask. Because I'll just mention this as a side note, when it comes to today's modern practice management programs, it's very much a keeping up with the Joneses sort of game. So when one puts out a new feature, typically the other ones, if it's good enough and met with enthusiasm, they'll add that feature or create that feature. So make sure you look into that. It's obviously very helpful. All right, timekeeping and billing. We don't need to spend too much time on this because I already talked about it a little bit, and that is look for timekeeping tools that are built into your case management system. I mentioned Chrometa, which is one of my favorites. And then a lot of today's voice over IP services like Vonage and Nextiva also integrate with modern practice management programs, which means you can log and then bill for phone calls through those services and systems. One of the things you want to do as you're building a tech-savvy law practice is look for integration. We want to move data from one place to another automatically and easily. So a lot of services are talking to other things, either they're written or created or developed to do that automatically, or you can always look at a service like Zapier, Z-A-P-I-E-R, which starts as a free service, and then you can spend a little bit of money that helps you basically copy and paste. I mean, it's a very simplified way of saying information, data, forms, first name, last name, birthday, questions from one program to another. So it can be assisted automatically by a lot of the services that we use, or you can automate moving data from one place to another using a service like Zapier. That assumes that whatever services you are using have what is called an open API, which allows for other programs to either pull data into or push data out of a program. So an open API means this service was developed to talk to other services or programs. And a lot of that can really come into play when you're trying to become efficient at timekeeping and billing. There's text expansion again. I'll come back to that. Of course, sending out your invoices and collecting that money that you are so well deserved of having can become faster and quicker if you are able to capture your time, quickly generate a bill, and then quickly send them all out, either batch billing at the end of the month or a onesie, twosie, just generate a quick bill and get it out the door. So if you can do those things using these services that we have available at very affordable prices, you're going to increase efficiency, reduce your stress, and get paid faster. One last thing on this, because I don't think I talk about it again, and that is if you're still hesitant about taking credit card payments, because yes, it does skim a little bit off the top of your take, you really need to understand that clients want to pay a bill with a credit card. They will often pay it much faster if they have the option to pay it through a credit card. And that little bit that gets skimmed off the top is worth every penny of having that money sitting in your bank account tomorrow versus, you know, end of the year by the time you actually get a check sent to you in the mail. So really, really reconsider credit card payments if you haven't gotten there already. Okay, finally, woo, text expansion. We've been waiting for you. So I'm sure many of you have iPhones or Androids, and you know by now that if you type OMW, it spits out on my way. You can also, of course, create custom text expansion tools. So we call that text expansion. There's also keyboard shortcuts. You might hear it called different things. I call it text expansion. So it's a shortcut and it expands into something longer. As I mentioned earlier, there are services. As I mentioned earlier, there are features built into a lot of programs that we use. For example, our practice management programs have text expansion built in so that when you type RR, it spits out review and revise. Those are text expansion tools, and they're very helpful, of course, in time entry. The thing with some of the services is they get trapped inside of the program that provides them. So when it comes to autocorrect that I mentioned earlier, and hold on, I just forgot what I was saying. I'm coming.
No worries.
Autocorrect and quick parts, the problem with them is they are trapped inside of Word. Text expansion inside of our practice management programs are often trapped inside the practice management program, which means if I've got RR set up in Clio, I can't use that over in Outlook. I'd have to make sure I also have it replicated, duplicated inside of autocorrect. So there's a tool that I live and die for called Text Expander, textexpander.com. I think I pay $40 a year for it. And it is absolutely amazing. I must have 250 expansions in there, snippets as they're called. And they range from anything as simple as my email address to an introductory paragraph to a contract that I'm sending out to someone or a proposal. And the thing that I love about Text Expander, one of the reasons I push it so much over using services that are native, is it's browser, device, platform agnostic. So I have one textexpander.com account, $40 a year. I have about 7 devices total between the number of laptops and PCs and Android and an iPhone and an iPad. Actually, I probably have more devices than that. But I create the snippet in one place on one device logged into my account, and it synchronizes across all those devices, including the iPhone and my Android. So take a look at textexpander.com. And then if you want to really become a Text Expander expert, there's another consultant, a buddy of mine, you may have heard of him, named Brett Burney. If you just Google Burney Consulting, Brett has a course where he teaches attorneys specifically tips and tricks for ways to use Text Expander in a legal environment, and it's pretty awesome. So definitely go look at Text Expander. It'll save you a lot of time. Client portals. Oh, how I wish this was just standard. I have a lot of attorneys that say, my clients won't use a portal. They will use a portal, and you'd be surprised how many of them are already using portals with their financial advisors, with their doctors. If anyone has bought or sold a house or refinanced a mortgage in the past 3 or 4 years, if not longer, the only way to get that done is through a portal. So the reason I love portals is from a security perspective. The way that you communicate with your clients most often are going to be phone calls, emails, and text messages. Those are the 3 least secure ways to communicate with someone. We already know that. So how can you reduce your risk and your stress in communicating with clients? It's an easy answer, and that is to implement the use of portals. Portals come as part of your subscription to all of today's modern practice management programs. It gives clients a lot of what they're looking for. Access to their documents from any place, anytime. They don't have to email. Your secretary doesn't have to send them the latest version of their trust. They can just go access it. They only see the things that you give them access to. They don't see everything, of course. That would be silly. They have access to work in progress before that bill arrives, which they can get through their portal, and then click to pay very quickly and easily through the portal. You can keep them abreast of milestones, dates, deadlines, appointments, and contacts. They can see the activity on a case if you are logging it in there. There can be threaded discussions where they send you a question through the portal, you can answer it. And of course, the good thing about that is instead of having 15 emails back and forth, everything is preserved inside of a threaded discussion inside the portal. All of today's practice management programs have portals built in. There's a nice standalone product out there called Case Status. So if either you don't have a portal through the service that you're using, especially if you're using something that I refer to as a traditional practice management program that is not web-based, then Case Status is a nice option for you to look at. I mentioned that it secures client communications and it puts everything in one place. So not only does it help you keep track of everything that you're sharing with the client, but it makes it easy on them. And come on, how does that not reduce stress and increase efficiency? It's just automatic. So let's talk a little bit about email, because I know that this is a high point of stress for a lot of us. And when it comes to email, here's the problem. Many of us, and by us I mean you, because this is definitely not me, have been using the same email address for everything for years and years, meaning you get your reminder to check into Southwest, you get your LinkedIn notifications, you get Facebook updates, you get delivery notifications from Amazon, and all of those notifications and emails, which are important, are nestled in between business, life and death emails, right? Court hearings, appearances, dates, communications from a client, all that. So the first thing I will tell you is, not to mention spam, right? Everyone deals with spam all day long. The first thing I mention is you really want to protect your work email address like it's your social security number. You don't just give your social security number to anybody that asks for it. And that's what a lot of us do with our main emails. You want to take your main email address and protect it like it's your social security number, only giving it to those people who I think, or you think, will help make you money. So I call it the golden slide, and I only give access to my golden slide, the chute where all of my emails land in my inbox, to clients and very important business colleagues. Other than that, I certainly have second and third, if not fourth and fifth emails that I'll use. So my main email address, that golden chute, is alinares@lawtechpartners.com. And that's the one that I give to my clients. But on my business card, I have training at LawTech Partners. On my LinkedIn and Facebook profiles and everywhere else, I use training at. I certainly monitor that inbox and it is important to me, but it doesn't alert me. I don't get notifications, because another point of stress for us a lot of times can be badges and notifications, right? You look down at your inbox and it says 80 on your iPhone and you go, oh my God, how did I get 80 emails all of a sudden? So 80, yes, but probably 75 of them are not important. So you're getting that sort of blip on the heart rate monitor for almost nothing. What you want to do is separate your emails and have one that's strictly for business, have one or two for newsletters from, the sources that you want to get them from, notifications, and then you want to have a completely separate email for your personal stuff. My mom, her name is Gina, and she is awesome. Gina does not know my email address at work. Could she guess it? Sure. I'm not even sure she knows the name of my company. I'm kidding. But the point is, she doesn't email me at work, and I don't ever want to see my mom or my boyfriend or my housekeeper's emails in my inbox at work. I want to be able to go to my junky Gmail address and look at all that stuff, along with the request to fill out a review for the earrings I bought on Etsy, right? Okay, so I think I've made my point, which is you want to have multiple email addresses, you want to use them for separate purposes and silo them. And then the next tip just piggybacks on that, which is not only do I have separate email addresses, and they're all here, but I also use different apps on my iPhone for them. So when I'm really focused on work, I go to Outlook. When I've got a few minutes, maybe I'm waiting in line or I'm waiting to, for the doctor to see me, I'll go check training, which is where I get my newsletters, important emails, notifications from Google My Business and Google Search Console that there's something wrong with my website, because that's all stuff that can wait and I can deal with later. Then, of course, I've got a couple of Gmail addresses. And the point of this is when I need a mental break and I don't want to think about work, but I do want to be reminded what the top 10 restaurants in New Orleans are to eat at, or I want to go and look up a coupon for Bed Bath & Beyond and just sort of dumb my life down for a minute and just take a mental break, then I open up Inbox by Gmail in order to go look at those emails. So siloing your emails, not only by addresses, but also by apps, is a tip that I will give you. And here's another tip. I use 3 or 4 different browsers. Of course, I have Google Chrome. Of course, I have the new Microsoft Edge, which is really good and really nice. And then I also use Vivaldi and Opera. And what I do there is I keep all of my work-related tabs in Chrome. And then when I go over to Opera is where my Gmail is. I'm looking for a car when I go to Hawaii in December. I've got a tab open to remind me to call the Jeep's parts store and order a new top for my Jeep, right? This is now siloing my tabs and my tasks and separating complete work stuff from complete personal stuff. And I will tell you, it is a game changer for organizing tabs, for not having 1,000 tabs open. When a browser crashes, at least I'm only losing that set of tabs versus all the tabs that I have open. So I strongly encourage you to think about ways that you can silo your communications that are coming in via email. Passwords are another very stressful thing for everyone to manage, and we're constantly being reminded that our password is outdated. We need to change our password. Our password has been compromised. So one of the other things that you can do, which is just an absolute no-brainer, is get a password manager. It's hard for me to really stress how much a password manager will change your life. They do a lot more than just manage your passwords. They generate passwords. You can store credit cards in there, and when you need to fill out a form on a website, you tell it, okay, use my personal card versus my business card, and they're just incredibly helpful. So if you've been stubborn about password managers, please go get one. Very popular today are Dashlane and 1Password. I've been using them for so long that I use a product that's a little bit older and not as popular as Dashlane and 1Pass, but it's called RoboForm. I must have over 1,000 passwords in there because it's been years, and it's incredible. It's also browser and device agnostic. So if I log onto my Mac and then open Chrome, everything is synchronized from the last time I was on PC and created a new password on semrush.com. So please use a password manager. They are secure. To date, there has not been any major security issues or breaches with today's popular password managers. I do not encourage the use of passwords being stored in browsers or allowing Apple to store it, mainly because you will lose them if you aren't synchronizing that profile to other computers and devices. And of course, we are oftentimes just always perpetually logged into our browsers. So if someone gets to your computer and your passwords are stored in there, you know, they're just not quite as secure, but it's better than nothing, I'll say that. But I would switch to a dedicated password manager. Got a couple of travel tips for you, aside from, you know, managing emails and having different devices, and having different and using different programs and browsers, which I think is always good, especially if you do have multiple devices that you travel with. You want everything synchronized across all of them. So here's another one. Please put privacy screens on your devices. I cannot tell you how many times I've sat on an airplane and I was able to read, you know, from the seat in front of me and over to the side one, wills, contracts, IP documents. I mean, you lawyers sometimes are really careless with allowing people to shoulder surf, as it's called. So please get privacy screens for all of your devices, your iPhones, your iPads, and your desktops. They're very affordable, very easy. One tip with the laptop is you want to make sure you get one that fits specifically to your laptop screen so it doesn't like cover up the camera and stuff like that. So Google the laptop that you have. Actually, instead of Googling it, go to Amazon, put in the laptop that you have and then screen, privacy screen. Make sure you get one that fits over that monitor. We travel a lot and often lose devices, sometimes more than I care to admit. So make it easier for people, the good people who find lost or stolen devices, to help you get your device back. I just have these little orange stickers that I put on everything I own that says, if found, please call. That's my phone number and Gina's phone number. And you'd be surprised. I've actually had 3 items come back to me because of these simple little stickers. And man, is there anything more stressful than not knowing where your cell phone is? So very simple tip, can really help. Another travel tip that I give a lot is these tech dop kits. So everyone's heard of a dop kit, right? And a long time ago, I started joking around my tech dop kit, which is a little bag I keep that has a spare of everything I need. So I've got a spare iPhone charger, a spare mouse, spare pair of AirPods. I know they're expensive, but you know, sometimes you get a hand-me-down. And instead of me having to, every time I go out the door, remember to grab my Apple Watch charger, my headphones, a battery backup, my portable keyboard, I just keep it all in a to-go tech dop kit. When I buy a new laptop, I go straight to Amazon, I buy an extra charger. Who has one charger for their laptop? That seems so careless to me, because if I lose it or forget it, which happens all the time, you're in a little bit of trouble till you can get a new one. So preempt that problem by just ordering a spare. Also makes it easier to get up and go because I always keep it in my tech dop kit. I don't even have to think about it. So tech dop kit. Couple of last tips I have for you are on services and products that I really like that help make writing and reviewing emails or documents easier, and that's Perfectit, which is about $70 a year. It's kind of like the Blue book of grammar for legal. It's designed specifically for legal. And if you do long documents, maybe you use a lot of acronyms and bullet points and tenses of a word, then Perfected is pretty awesome. It's very affordable at $70 a year. Then the other tool I will mention, which I love a lot, is Rake, also built and designed specifically for legal. Both of these products are device agnostic. So whether you're a Mac or a PC, you can take advantage of them. And Rake is really great. I have a lot of attorneys who become very verbose in their legal speak, and Rake can really help clean that up. If nothing else, it can help remind you how to be a clear writer. I think I use a product like Rake almost more than anything inside Outlook. Helps me when I have to write long emails, which I cannot stand, make them more clear and easier to read. Well, I hope this was all helpful to you. If I can be of any assistance in the future, please reach out to me at training@lawtechpartners.com. Unless, of course, you're looking to hire me, then just email me at Linares. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining me today.
So thanks so much for your time. If you want to learn more about legal boards, you can just visit our website at www.legalboards.com.